How do you deal with situations in which it really is the person's fault, right? So you're taking responsibility for everything, but at the same time, you just have somebody who's screwed up in a serious way. I just read an editorial or an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal about a guy who was chewed out at one point by Steve Jobs. He's working at Apple, and Steve Jobs approaches him, obviously the quote-unquote ultimate leader in the tech sector, and he just looked at what the guy was doing and he said, "This is garbage," and then he just walked away. And the guy said, "Well, it made me feel bad at the time, but I realized that sometimes it encouraged me to do better." Well, what do you think of that sort of leadership style? Are there times where you just have to choose somebody out, and is that ever useful?
There are very few occasions, because I'll tell you, from a leadership perspective, if you're working for me and you screw something up, whose fault is that?
I mean, presumably it's your fault for hiring me.
Well, number one, why did I hire you if you can't do the job? But even if, let's say I did hire you, did I give you the right guidance? Did I give you the right support? Did I actually check back in with you and make sure that you had the resources that you needed to get the thing done? Did I make sure that you were trained properly? I mean, there's all these things that I look back at myself and say, if my subordinates aren't doing what I need them to do, that is my fault. Now, to your question, do you occasionally get someone that is either incapable of doing the job for whatever reason? They don't have the cognitive capacity, or they don't have the physical capacity, or they don't have the right attitude to get a job done. Does that happen sometimes? Yes, it absolutely does. We talked about that in the new book. We had, my task unit is called Task Unit Bruiser. And we had 2 guys inside of Task Unit Bruiser that when we went through our pre-deployment training, they didn't cut it. And look, we did everything we could to mentor, to train them, to get them up to speed. But ultimately, you get to a point as a leader where you recognize this person they're just not capable of doing the job. And I'm putting all my resources into this one individual. And I'm now starting to shun the rest of the team because I'm focused on one person. So I'm actually hurting the rest of the team. So even though I have loyalty and I take ownership of the subordinates that are working for me, at some point, my loyalty to the team will trump my loyalty to one individual. And I have to make a hard decision to get rid of that person.
All right, guys, we really hope you enjoyed this video. We are working relentlessly just to put out the best content for you guys. We would really appreciate your support if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel. It would really mean a lot to us.